Hello, hello, hello. I hope the sound is okay. As always, I can't really. Oh, hang on, I can actually confirm. Okay, I can hear myself. Excelente! We no longer have past incidents where I, have my microphone muted for extended amounts of time. I'm trying a new coffee today. Yeah, nothing special. Oh well. So I was just clearing out my tabs. The Stack Overflow article. I don't even know what it was about, but look at this. Like I have to scroll this tab bar up here because, yeah, this is what happens when I research stuff and then never close things. So I thought I'm just gonna go through and close a few things, right? So you have to excuse me a little bit. Just let me do that real quick. Yeah, there's stuff open. I didn't even know why I had it open. I'm sure it made sense at the time. What is this? Indentation rules. Oh, I'm just observing my dog. She just jumped off the bed, so I'm not sure what she wants to do. I might have to let her out of the room. But oh, right, indentation rules. I remember. Okay, this was for Sublime Text because it had some very weird indentation rules when using case and switch statements, and it annoyed the hell out of me. So I just checked how to configure them to behavior that I like more. List of prime numbers. Yeah, of course. I mean, why wouldn't you want that? Open in a tab. I'm sure that made sense as well. Hi. Do you wanna come up? You want back to your spot? Okay. All right. Okay. She's giving me. Okay, hang on. She's giving me the side. I kind of have to take her on my lap. Hang on. No, you don't want to? Well, then stop giving me the side eye. Jeez. Okay. So list of prime numbers. What's this? Rad debugger. Yep. Oh look, handmade hero. What's this one? Low Tide Productions. Using Sublime Text 3 for handmade hero. Okay. Why did I have that? Oh, I wanted to see how to set up the bat files within Sublime Text because it has like a built-in, like you can go to project, I think. No, here, tools and build with. And I think I wanted to link up my build files into that, but whatever. Let me quickly close some of the Steam and such things. We do not need those. Right. This is all config stuff. There's handmade hero, right? Twitter, sure. Sublime Text. For some reason, when I looked for the Sublime Text stuff, there were a lot of results with handmade hero. So I guess a lot of people are using Sublime Text there. That is actually .NET source code for Path Combine. And this is actually something I do need right now. Because I sort of wanted to write my own Path Combine that kind of has similar behavior than the .NET one that I'm used to. Because, I'm a former .NET engineer, and I kind of like some of the library functions. So I thought I replaced them with my own. Okay, but I don't need that, don't need that. Nope. What's this? Nope. Create process, nope. Heap alloc, nope. Okay, I was looking at code output here. I mean, the compiler explorer to have this open is actually almost a good idea. I kind of like to do that sometimes. I wanted to see what kind of code. So the same function in two different ways, one with a switch statements and one just with ifs, right? And as you can see with switch statements, it generates a lot more code because it has like these little things here where it like basically sort of like a jump table kind of thing. Although it's not exactly jump table, it's just to see what it should return based on, yeah, the value that you have. Anyways, doesn't really matter. And then you have the other option with the switches here, and obviously it has a lot of branches and jumps than this one would have. But yeah, that was just something curious to look at. I'll keep this tab open because I probably won't want it again. What's this? This is the C standard, I believe. Yep. Sure, let's keep that one open. Although, is this the... Ah, no, this is the 2023 version. Well, that's the wrong version, isn't it? But yeah, whatever. Let's just keep it open. Random, get process ID. Okay. ASCII table, sure. How to modify command line string. What's this? This is libc. Right, I was looking at some libc implementations for the video, I think. So let's close that and that and that. STB headers, sure. Nope. You know, feels good to do some spring cleaning here. What's this? x86-64. Right, I was looking at assembly instructions and the divide instruction, because some divides actually get replaced by multiplied by compiler, even though there is a divide instruction, which I found a bit interesting. So it's just looking at it. This seems like a useful site, so let's back this one up. Other bookmarks, save. Fantastic. Yeah, the Intrinsics website. Yeah. Conclusions. Yeah, I'll love to jump to those. No, what is that? Mapping to code. What was I reading here? Again, division stuff. To see how fast the division instructions are, I believe. Yeah, same here. As always, I get distracted by like little things and then just dive way too deep into those and end up with like hundreds of tabs open, and then, yeah. Sometimes it leads to a video, sometimes it doesn't. Memcopy, sure. Okay, that was my memcopy search, right. What's this? I think this is memcopy as well, isn't it? No, it's micro benchmarking. All right, so we go into the micro benchmarking stuff. Excellent. Right. Nope. Okay, where do I actually... Okay, so I want this one for sure. So if we go to the next, I can actually close this one then. So I don't need that, no. Nope. Windows Console and Terminal Ecosystem Roadmap. I think that I wanted to read. So let's keep this open. I'm not going to read this on stream, don't worry. Okay. Format message, yeah. Okay, here we are. So this is the These are the .NET Path APIs that I kind of liked and wanted to use, and there is this join and combine that I basically wanted to replicate. And I wanted to replicate it for, well, what I did last stream, the GB header extractor, because I'm building this without the C Runtime now. And there was this, no, hang on, I have to go to the Visual Studio version of it. This is the new one that I started on stream. So, to recap, I basically want to convert one of my old Visual Studio projects, this one, the GB header extractor, and I wanted to convert it into something that does not rely on Visual Studio, so just has a few bat files, so I can build it, right? Just a single source file, that's it. And I also wanted to compile this without the Windows runtime. Without a C runtime. Jesus, brain. And I got the command line argument stuff working because, we no longer have a win main, so we can't really get command line argument parsing going without the C runtime. I have an entire video on the YouTube channel if you want to watch that, of why that is. And so basically now, at some point, I get the current directory, and then I kind of build like the input and output path, right? And at some point, well, I do have a combine path function right here, right? But I don't think that one is good in any way. So I wanted to replace it with something that more resembles what .NET is doing, and that kind of led me into a rabbit hole of, what are the actual Windows APIs, how do Windows paths work, and stuff like that. And all this stuff that I learned, I will basically putting out in a new YouTube video. It will just be a very, really short one with like all the path prefixes that are possible and things like that. But then I started to create this little library file in Dani lib, which is why I call my libraries, why not, right? And then I have this danipath.h where I wanted to put in all the path methods that I have. And these are all the candidates of, functions, not methods. This is C, not C sharp, right? And so yeah, those are the candidates of things that I could implement. At the moment, I just need to combine, although I'm not sure what the difference between combine and join is here, except it does not consider routing, and I do not know what that is yet, so I kind of wanted to look at the code and see what it's doing. I have a few notes down here about paths in Windows, prefixes, namespaces, and all this sort of thing, and then which characters are allowed or not, and for that I already have like a little function right here that is basically checking whether a character is a valid character for a path component or not. So I'm sure I will be needing that at some point. Yeah. This file is a lot of mess at the moment. There's a lot of like, resources, like links to resources that I used, so I don't forget those, and I can actually browse to them. And then a lot of notes down here of things that I learned as I go on. Of course, I will be removing those from the header files soon, but yeah. And basically my own libraries that I want to write, so I can reuse them in all my different C applications, are based on like the STB style of doing things. So basically single header include files, single header libraries, essentially. So I do not have like a lot of features that they have in there, like these attributes with like no sanitized addresses and all this kind of stuff, because like I don't need that. It's not something I write for the general public to use, right? It's just something for myself. Eventually, I might put it up on GitHub somewhere, and then people can do their own things if they wanted to. But yeah, I'll basically just extend this header file with things that I need as I need them. Yeah. On second thought, this coffee is not great. I need to wash it down with water. And also, because I'm doing a lot of Windows things at the moment, and also on my YouTube channel with all the videos that I'm doing with like Windows programming and stuff, I am prepared. I bought books. I bought the Windows Internals Part 1. and Windows Internal Part 2. I found a really good deal on second-hand editions that said they have slight wear and tear, but when you look at that, they actually don't. There's no markings whatsoever. The only flaw that I could find was like the corner is a little bit bent, but that's it. They were like half price of the original, so I'm like, hell yeah, that was a really good deal. I first checked archive.org, the library, to see if I can actually just, get a digital version somehow, but it was not available there, so I had to buy those books. On second thought, I could have just signed up on my local library and requested those books. That would have been smart. Ah, well. I like to add markings in books and stuff like that as I read them, so it's probably good that I have my own copies instead of relying on library copies, to be honest, but yeah, whatever. So there will be lots more Windows stuff. Anyways, lost my train of thought. Okay, yeah, so I have combine path and append path right here, which I'm using in this project. So I kind of want to have some generalized versions for that. Because this GB header extractor, so what it's doing is you can specify an input path, and the input path then will just get all the files within that directory, either recursively or not. I think you have to specify recursive with the command line arguments, as I remember correctly, with some of the flags. And it will read all the files. It will just assume they're all Game Boy ROM files, right? Jump to where the header usually is located. So that would be like 150 bytes into the file. And then just tries to read out the header information and then write that file out into a CSV file. As you can see, output CSV right here. This is why I need append path, because so the output path, you could actually specify a different file name and a different file format if you even wanted to. Sorry, not format, extension. The format will still be CSV format. So I wanted to have some checks around there. So if no file extension is found, then assume that that is a folder or not, and things like that. And there is some Windows API to check like certain things. And yeah, I just wanted to do that. At the moment, this old program was like fairly basic. It just basically try to open the file. So you pass in an input. You pass in an output path, right, or an output file name. Instead of doing any checks to see whether that output file is actually a valid file, it just tries to call fopen with whatever you passed in. And if it fails, it tries to append it with a file name and then tries to call fopen again. And if that fails, it just gives up. It's not very elegant. There's a bunch of reasons why this could fail. So the better way to do it is you get an output string that could either be a file or a directory or some nonsense, right? Then you call Windows APIs on that gets the full path out of it, because it could also just be a relative path based on the executable that you're running. And once you have the full path, you can then try to figure out, okay, does this path have a file extension? Yes or no? Or actually easier, you don't even need to check for the file extension. You can just get the file info of that particular path, and that will tell you whether that file exists or not, and whether it is a directory or not. And from that on, you can like do a few assumptions and then basically have a bit more of a correct program. So that's basically it. I'm not going to do something fancy like, if the output path doesn't exist, I'm going to create it for the user. I'm always expecting a output path that is already there, except the output file. If that is not there, I'm going to create it. Otherwise, the code would be too complicated for this little tool, and I don't really, want to overcomplicate it too much. At some point, I could probably have things in this path header right here that do exactly that, check every single component in the path and see if the path is like if it actually exists, and if it does not exist, just create it on the, on the user's hard drive. But for now, I don't care. Simply as that. So, but then you might ask, so this is just a GB header extractor, why not have exactly the same behavior as before, right? I could just copy paste this code and just replace this WF open with like stuff that is not from the C runtime and call it a day and be done with it. And you'd be right, that's a valid way to handle this kind of stuff. Like I could just do that and get it working for now. But I also want to do the same thing after the GB header extractor with my static website generator and things like that. And that one, let me show you what the problem is at the moment. So, whoops. No, it's not ls, it's dir. Jeez. So my website is basically a static website. So I have a bunch of folders and HTML files here. A static website generator is a bit overblown for what it's doing. What this is doing is actually just stitching together HTML files with a specific header and footer and stuff like that. It's very simple, right? And to actually build this website, I have a little build script, so I just call build, and then it should just create an output folder with everything that I need. But as you can see, at the moment, it says couldn't open disk handle 4. And then it has this device prefix and X and website, and it says access denied. And even if you run this in admin mode, it will still say access denied. And this is because I'm using some kind of API here to actually, get the volume information. So for the hard drive X, which worked perfectly fine before when I had everything on the C drive. But now I have this folder, so volume X is actually just a folder somewhere on the C drive that I mapped onto the drive X. And what's happening is I'm trying to get device information of drive X, which doesn't exist because, it's just a folder on the C drive. So I think this is why it's spitting out access denied right here. So I eventually want to rewrite this to have proper path handling for these kind of things as well. So I figured, okay, I can just do a general path library that handles this kind of thing for me, so I can handle this easier. And since I'm dealing with the GB header extractor at the moment to try and build this without the C runtime, I thought that would be a good way to start with it anyways, because it also needs an input path and an output file. So, might already test things out there. Why not? Anyway, that was a long tangent. And also, I'm not sure how long I can stream for today, because I'm awaiting a food delivery, so some groceries. So I think I have about an hour, which is not much time, but I'll just have to deal with that and then probably come back and do some more streaming. But I'll probably stop the stream until then. We'll see when we get to that. It's a bit of a rambly one today. Just gonna let me put it this way. Okay. Actually, always ls. I need to make a shortcut for ls to dir, honestly. Okay. So what do I want to do? I probably want to go to the GB header extractor, right? And call build, and it still does build. And when I run it, at the moment it just shows the input and output path. Now, that is because in read command line options, right here, I'm getting the current directory. And if I do not specify an input or output, I'm just using the current directory as the input or output of that program. That's what I like to do as well. So even though there is a bunch of command line arguments here, what I like to do with my tools is I want them to be able to run without any command line arguments whatsoever. So if you just double click the executable or just call it from within the terminal, there should be something happening, right? I do not like tools that require command line arguments from the get-go. It's like, why? Right? Just make it work. In my instance, I'm just going to use the current path that I'm calling it from, so the current directory this process is running in, and that will be used as the input path and also as the output path. Okay, and so let's see. Okay, so this is just test code that I had, right? Remove test code right here. So what I probably want to do now is make sure the input and output path are correct. So the first thing I should call is something like no, not this one. I had it open. I know it somewhere. There, get full path name A, which is located in the, well, it's located in the file api.h, but you can just include Windows H, which will include this one, and it is in the kernel 32 DLL, which is perfect. So I do not need to point to any new libraries whatsoever, which is exactly what I want. And what this is doing is merges the name of the current drive and directory with a specified file name to determine the full path and file name of a specified file. It also calculates the address of the file name portion of the full path and file name. Interesting. This function does not verify that resulting path and file name are valid, or that they see an existing file on the associated volume. Relative paths passed to the getFullPathName function are interpreted as a relative to the process current directory. The current directory state written by the blah, blah, blah function is global to... Okay. Right, this is warns for multi-threading, which I don't do anyways. getFullPathName does not convert the specified file name LP file name. If the specified file name exists, you can use getLongPathName or getShortPathName to convert to long or short path name respectively. What? Does not convert the specified file name. The name of the file. Okay, I do not understand this sentence at the moment. The size of the buffer to receive null-terminated string for the drive and path. Okay. Pointer to a buffer that receives the null-terminated string. Okay. And a pointer to a buffer that receives the address within the output buffer of the final name component in the path. This parameter can be null. If LP buffer refers to a directory and not a file, LP file part receives 0. Nice. This does a lot of things already. Okay, what if... Okay, so I need to pass in a buffer so it returns the full path name based on what I pass in here, right? But I kind of want to know how long of a buffer I need first. So I'm wondering if I can do one call with buffer length of 0 and buffer as null, and then get the length, and then allocate, enough space for that string, and then do that. Well, let's figure it out, right? That's the fun part about programming. Why think about it too much and read the documentation when you can just try it out? Okay, so what did I do before with the strings? I do have a string struct. I do have a string equals. Fine. I do have a print Windows error message. That is fantastic. I'm probably going to need that. That was in common. And then we have options. So I have a string input and output here. I have like these buffers. Oh, good God. I don't like that. Where am I using these? Find all. Right. So this is only used for this thing right here. For error messages. And the current buffer, right, I see. That is used for get current directory. I'm wondering if I call this without, to determine the required buffer size, this parameter should be null. And yeah, okay, cool. So I can do that. Now that is much cooler. Okay. So what I can do, I can like dynamically allocate those instead of relying on this global char right here. Okay, I'm trying to think on how to do this. Okay, first of all, let's go to the main and let's try a few things out, right? So get current directory. If I pass in null and null, it should return me the length of the current directory, right? So, and if I try and print this out, percentage %d curlen, sure. $32. Okay, that is cool. So what? hang on, but is it the length without not including the terminating null character? Okay, so what I would need to do now is say heap alloc get process heap, and then say curlen plus 1. And that will be our current directory string, right? So let's be nice about this and do like a cast, even though strictly speaking not necessary, but whatever. Let's also not waste our time with null checks. So get current directory, and then we say curlen, but does the length have to be, must include room for a null terminating character? Okay, so it will be always be +1 here. Sure, why not? And the output buffer would be the current directory. And if the return value is 0, if this should fail, so if this is 0, then what we want to call is probably, what have I called this? Print Windows error. Right? And then exit process, right? Actually, some error code, whatever. I don't have one specified really. I don't think I need the return because this is like terminating, so, and there's nothing to return to. Probably want the same here. If curlen is null, then print Windows error. Return, right? And we do not bother with freeing this memory because it's the process heap, and if the process dies, everything allocated gets freed anyways by the operating system. That's just the magic of Windows. Or any operating system. You would hope they work that way. Okay, so strictly speaking, I could also say if this is null, right? But I think heap alloc actually doesn't print a Windows error. So let's see. Win32 heap alloc. I don't think if it fails. Yeah, if the function fails, it does not call set last error. So you would actually not get any information whatsoever. I mean, that is really just if this happens, like, all bets are off anyways. The system is in a fucked up state. So I'm just gonna realistically probably don't need this check whatsoever. But let's just be nice about it. So build, what? Heap alloc, too few arguments for the call. What have I forgotten? Ah? What do you want? Oh, flags. I've forgotten flags. Do I need flags? Do I need 0 memory? Fuck no. Nope. So, oh, there we go. Now happy? Yeah, now you're happy. Cool. So if I actually run this in the debugger, right, and I break, sure, let's break right after here, then current directory has indeed the current directory. Okay, and yep. Cool. Okay. So now the inputs. So this would be kind of like the proper way of getting the current directory, not just have like a static, sized buffer and then just hoping for the best. Although the static buffer that I had right here is not. It is actually okay because I'm using max path, and max path is 260 characters, which is the maximum path length in Windows anyways, unless unless you specify long path names, which I recently learned about and I didn't know about. Hence why I wanted to do a video about it. It's like this, I think this syntax, or like something like this, or is it? I have it in my Dani lib. Hang on. Yeah, so like this prefix basically. No, this prefix. Sorry, it's a question mark. So if you pass in a path with this prefix right here, so actually, hang on, as a C string, it would be this, right? God, I love C strings. So if you have, backslash, quotation, question mark, backslash, then anything that comes after it will not be processed by any Windows APIs, which means the path name can be longer than max path. So instead of being limited by your 260 characters that you usually have, you can have, I don't know, I think the max length is actually signed 16 bits. So I have a value for this right here. Yeah, so it's hex 7FFF. So that is the maximum length of a long path. So, if someone specifies that and then you have like your static buffer that is, only accounting for 260 characters, then whoops, everything will fail, right? Why would you need to have long paths? Well, essentially for, countries that are not English speaking, right? If the paths are UTF-8 encoded, then they might have a lot of characters. Like, let's say, for example, on a Chinese system or whatever, right? So it would be nice if this GB header extractor is actually handling those correctly as well. So it would be nice to not rely on this static buffer that I have. I'm sorry, I know I'm jumping a lot back and forth here. That's because I had no real plan before I started this stream, right? I just wanted to do certain things, and I thought, hey, why not just do it live on camera, whatever. So yeah, probably do not want to do that. Let's see. Right, and then I wanted to test the get full path function right here. I lost it again. There we go. This one, get full path name, right? I wanted to see if it has the exact same behavior. If whatever you pass in, if the buffer length is null and the buffer is null as well. So sorry, if the buffer length is 0 and the buffer itself is null, if it then just returns you how much space this would need. So I can then go ahead and allocate the right amount and then call the same function again with the right buffer size, right? So let's try that. So in this case, what I would want is the options that are returned and the input string. Now the buffer length I want to put 0, and the buffer itself I want to put to null, and the file part. Well, we're not interested in the file part at the moment, so it can be null as well, right? And then this would be the, let's say, input len, right? So if I pass a relative path, let's just steal this. We do not need that up there. This can be removed. Right, okay. So build. Excusez-moi. Oh, input base, right. It's my stupid string thingy. And of course, it's a char pointer. I have this as a U8, which is not great, but whatever. Okay, it seems like it's doing the exact thing that I expected it to be doing. So if I run this now with a relative path, so let's say debug. GB header extractor, right? I specify input, and let's say I have a relative path of ... no, let's say source. Yeah, let's just say the source folder, right? 37, even though I only specify like these few characters right here. Okay, that is cool. So now if I want the correct input folder, okay, we're calling this again. And this time, let's allocate a buffer. Right, input path, and then we have input len. Does the return include the null character? Not including the null terminating character. Okay, cool. So it's the exact same behavior where I just have to add +1 to this. And if this is null, then we just return, right? And then I'll basically call the exact same thing again, which is what I'm doing down here. But this time I want input len +1 and input path as the buffer. Okay, do I want to be pointed to the file output? Let's try and see. Let's just call this test for now and set this to nothing. Is that the API? LPSTR pointer. Good God, I hate that they have like all these own defines for like basic C type. It annoys the hell out of me because you always have to look up what it is, and it's just... Okay, yeah, so this should work. So we're getting the pointer of the pointer, and then this pointer will be set to whatever the file output is, right? So I'm not going to bother with the null checks for now. All I want is printing out whatever I do there onto the console. This was an S32, right? So I have the string buffer, the input, and I want the input length, which is going to be input len. And then I want to have the input path. Okay, and let's call this input again, just so I can, okay, build, run. Huh? Oh, right, hang on, sorry, I have to run this with the, with that one, right? Input again. Yes, cool. So I'm passing in a relative path of source, and now it is the full path, which is actually pointing into the current directory plus the source thing. Now, I want to check if this thing is actually... So I have this test pointer right here, right? And I want to set what value it is actually set to. And test points to debug. Right, because this could potentially be a file instead of a folder. Okay. I don't think I need that pointer at all, though, because in order to figure out whether the path specified is a file or a folder, I can do get file info. No, get file attributes. We do not need the full attributes. We just need the basic file attributes, right? So, okay, first let's stop this. Go in here. So, get file attributes A, and I want the input path, and this will get me a D word, I think, of the file attributes. Yep, it's a D word. Attributes. And now we can figure out the attributes. Nope. Yeah, here are the constants. Right. And we can figure out whether it is a directory or not. So we're looking for this attribute. So if attributes and this equals 0, then we can say write error. This is a directory. Right? So build, run, whoop. What do you mean? Oh, no. I want this. Okay. Build, run. This is a directory. Okay, cool. And if I do this with the input specifier like so, this is a directory. Okay, but now what if I specify an actual input file? So I know I have a main.c file in there, right? Then the directory flag is not set. Excellent. But what if the file is not known? Let's say foo. It still says this is a directory. Okay, interesting. I thought what would happen is invalid file attributes. Whoops. Wait, what? Okay, now I'm confused. So, invalid file attributes also resolves as this. Why? Okay, what is invalid file attributes? Oh, it's all ones. That's why. Ah, I see. Right, so you always have to check whether it's invalid first. Okay, that somewhat makes sense. But why not 0 then? I mean, if none of these attributes are set, then surely it's wrong, right? Or can they be files without all of these set? I mean, let's see, right? What if I do main C? Actually, let me... Nope, that was the wrong one. That was the one. Let me print out the value. Right. So attributes, let's just say percentage %d attributes, right? And then we say build run, right? Attribute 16, which is for directory. Yeah, it's 32. 32 is what? Archive. A file or directory that is an archive file or directory. Okay. Wait. File attribute normal, a file that does not have other attributes set. So what is null then? Like, is null just simply not valid? Like, you could have just, I don't understand. Whatever. Okay, anyways, so the file attributes, that is a good way to actually figuring out whether a file exists or not, or whether the path that is being passed in is, you know, a directory or not. And if you pass in something that doesn't exist, it returns an invalid file attribute flag. So x.txt, yeah, doesn't exist. Okay, so for the input, I always want a directory. So I can basically just check, okay, does this directory exist or not? And for the output file, I want to specify an output file, but if it is a directory that's being specified, I want to use the default file name. So this is what I can use this for. And now I understand why I have this return of the last component in the path. Because So hang on, what is test now? How about we just print out test, right? Let's just use that and print out test. So wherever test is pointing to, it's just going to print it out and see what it is. It's zero terminated anyway, so I'm not going to worry. So test in this instance is GB header extractor, right? Because this is the last component in the path. But what if I do like source and then have a backslash at the end? Then it's null. Oh, because we do not have a last component. Right, so if I just do source, we have a last component, which could either be a directory or a file. Okay, slowly getting a picture. So main.c, now that would be the last component, right? And if it is main, well, it could either be a file without an extension, or it could be a directory, right? So I can check that. Now, if it doesn't exist and it doesn't have an extension, then what would I treat this as? As a file or as a directory to create? Probably as a file. Yeah, I think as a file. Okay, I do not want this current directory stuff to be in the command line options. I think that was a good idea with how I did this before, right? So let's get that out of there. We have no flags and input. You know what? Let's just set this to 0 all around, like empty strings, right? Let's just zero them out. Let's be nice about this. Then we try and get the command line. If it's not, yeah, this is going to be 0, and then we just do this stuff. Now, if I get the next argument, I'm going to just pointing to the argument string flag, right? Okay, this is perfectly fine. This is good stuff. But then I want to do some extra processing on the outside of things. So current dir, do I use this anywhere else? No, this can go. Now the string buffer, I don't really like that at all. I don't want this to be a global. It's only used down here. Let's just specify it like this, right? It's on the stack, that's fine. I have a 1 megabyte stack available anyways, so might as well just create that buffer and fill it up wherever the stack is at the moment. Yeah, that's fine. Okay. So, now, so essentially if the input flag is set, I want to do something specific, and if it is not set, I want to get the current directory, right? Because that will be the new input path. So basically I can have a little function, get current process directory. And here I can do that kind of stuff. So I can do this. Let's just call it len. Do I want to print the error right there? I mean, yeah, why not? It's not a library function or anything. It's just used for this program, right? So I just want to do that. Then I want, let's just call this dir. Right, I'm gonna do heap alloc with len +1. Actually, you know what? Let's just do len ++. Right. And then we have get current directory down here, and if it is null, we, sorry, I should not call exit process right here. I just want to return a null pointer if things go south, right? But already print an error message. Except, well, if heap allocation fails, whatever. Do I need to print an error message? I mean, chances are, if heap alloc fails, write error will fail as well. Would heap alloc actually fail? I mean, huh. Non-growable heap? No, I don't have that. Yeah, whatever. Let's not bother with writing an error message like when the heap alloc fails. I mean, you have a lot of other things to worry in that point if you ever run out of memory. So screw it. Okay, and then we get the current directory and actually put this in the right in this thing. But I probably want... you know what? What I probably want is to turn this as a string. Right. So this would be return false, actually, and these two as well. So result base would be dir, and result length would be len. Or, I mean, I could already do this, to be honest. Okay, cool. So if the input flag is not set, then all I want to do is get the current process directory. And the current process directory should be set in options, input. Right, needs to be the pointer of this, obviously. And if that fails, well, exit process. Now, if this is set, however, I want to do all of these things. So, bool verify input path strt path, or let's call this input, right? Nope. And if not, verify input path, options input, then exit process 1, return. So if the input flag is set, then there should be an input path available. And now I need to basically get the full path name, as I've been doing down here. Allocate space for it, right? And then verify whether the... so get the file attributes of that input path and actually make sure it is a directory and it exists. Otherwise, need to throw an error or write an error message. So, right. So let's start with get full path name. Right. We want this char from the input base, pass in null, null, null. And that is full length. If full length is 0, we're gonna print a Windows error because we want to figure out why it failed, and then return false. Once we have the length, we can call heap alloc. So allocate on the heap, and what we are allocating is full length plus plus, and pass in full length. So that would be the full base. And if this is not, we return false. Okay. Then we call it again. Now this time we have file name, or let's name it last, because we don't know if it is a file name. It is just the last component of the path. Do I need input length again? No. So if get full path name A, and we want to copy this into full base, and we want to have the full length. Nope. Right. Want this here, and this needs to go into full base. And then here we're gonna set the last. Actually, last component. And if this is not, then print Windows error and return false. Okay. So now we can set the input base into the full base, right? Because we no longer need the other one. And then we can say input length is actually the full length now. So this string will now point into the full path that we've just generated. So the next thing to figure out is this actually a directory or not? So we're going to copy this and have attributes right here, get the file attributes, and we want to get the attributes of full base. And we do not need to print them out. And if the attributes are invalid file attributes, now let's check. You can get call last error to figure out why. Cool. So I can just say print Windows error and return false. Right? And if the input is not a directory, so if it resolves to 0, then we're going to write a little error message. And what are we going to write? We need a char buffer of max path, why not? And we're going to write into this buffer, and what we're going to write is input is not a valid directory. And what we're having here is input length and input base. And then we print that buffer. Well, actually, input can be quite longer than this, right? So, what is this? 32 characters. Let's say plus 100, right? So actually what I want is, let's just be dirty here. Let's have an eballoc with the length plus 100, right? So that will be our error message, error buffer. And then I can just copy this into the error buffer. Why not? Hang on. How? It has an overload with the count. Whew. Yeah, I should use that. I just realized I haven't done that for the other one either. That's not good. Right. Actually, I want max path right here. Because it's not zero terminated at the moment. That could have been... Yeah, that was bad. Where was I? Brain. Yeah. So this. Actually, let's make this a bit nicer. U64 buffer length, right? Buffer length. Yep. And then we return false. Okay, so input could be a relative or a full path. We don't know. So we get calling get full path name A right here, just, to get the right thing. We do a heap allocation right here. I'm not quite happy about the heap allocation, but I do not have arena allocators or anything like that, so let's just bother about it. This is a very small program. I do not give a shit right now. So we do a heap allocation, have full base right here. We're getting the last component, right? Okay, cool. Do I need the last component here? That's the question. I probably only need it for the output path, but not for the input path. So we're setting the input path to this right thing right here, and then we're getting the file attributes. And if it doesn't exist, simply we're just going to return false. And if it does exist, but it might be pointing to a file instead of a directory, we're going to print out an error instead. And if that all succeeded, it's going to say return true for now. Okay. So I can still have this test code right here, except, well, this buffer doesn't exist anymore, does it? Ooh, and I should look in write error. No, I do not need to look in write error. Yeah, this is fine. Okay, cool. So I can print out the input path, except now I need a bigger buffer. Let's just call this test buffer for now, right? and just make, I don't know, let's just make a 4 kilobyte buffer, whatever. Whoop. Okay. Oh, we have a bunch of errors right here, even in options. Oh, shoot. Okay, options 118. So let's, what is this about? 118. Is this because I need to do it this way? Right, C syntax. Yep, that was it. 188. What is this about? Function constructor differs. What do you mean? What differs from what? From int. I don't understand. I thought this had an overload. Was I mistaken? Char buffer. Int count. It's snprintf. Oh my lordy lord. Of course, overloads are not a thing in C. Daniel. Oy, 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 oy. Okay. So that will probably also be the errors in main mostly. Apologies. So we need this one. And then up here, probably the same. Yeah. Build. Okay, what's now? On 5. Of course, this is a pointer. So all of these need to be pointers. 13, dear undeclared identifier. Well, that is correct because this is result base, my friend. Okay, 17. From U64 to D word. That might be correct. 42. Right, this will be a similar problem because of the cast, because I have a U8. It's just how I like things. But if the casting... I had this signed... I hate this signed unsigned casting in C. It's a bit annoying. Five, 4. What's wrong here? U64 to int, right? That's the exact same thing. So let's do int. Get current process directory. Not all control paths return a right value. Do they not? What makes you think so? Ah, yeah. Return true. Build. Right. Run. Okay. Why is there so much space? What? 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 That does not look right. That does not look right at all. Okay, let's think about this. It's somehow... Actually, I still have the debugger open, I think. Yeah. Okay, let's... what are the paths that I'm using? Okay, let's specify minus input. And I am here, so let's jump out, go into the source folder, right, and specify just main, right? And let's go to the attributes. Whoop, still had some breakpoints here, excusez-moi. Okay, so full base is pointing to this, which is cool, right? So our input is now GB header extractor source main. Okay, we know that the path is valid, but main, well, doesn't exist, right? There is a main.c file in there, but main in itself does not exist. So we're trying to get the file attributes, and the attributes are whatever this shiz is. Let's hex. Okay, so this is invalid file attributes. Okay. So why does it not print the Windows error then? So we're getting the last error. Last error is 2. And then we have the message buffer. And we're formatting the error message. Bam. Why is message buffer still null? Error file not found. So that is valid. So why does format message not return the right error message? Allocate buffer, message from system, ignore inserts. So those are the flags. the source is optional, can ignore it. Message ID right, which in our case is last error. Language ID, just getting the default language ID. We have message buffer. Oh, what is local alloc? Okay, let's not get distracted. Whatever, it uses local alloc, fine, but I'm allocating the message, that's fine. Okay, I'm specifying 0 because I do not need to worry about that because, again, I'm saying allocate the message for me. And the last thing is null. Okay. If it returns 0, it says to call get last error again to figure out what was wrong, but like, what? Okay, fine. Sure. Let's go to print Windows error. It's in common. And let's just say last error. Right. And then so if len is null, we're getting a new last error code to figure out why format message failed, and then I'm gonna print out let's just hack this in like this for now, whatever, doesn't matter. Let's just say error buffer, I don't know, 260, doesn't matter. Error buffer 260. %d, and we have last error, right? And I'm just gonna print that out. Okay. Builds. Sure. And then error 8. Okay, let's see what error 8 is. Didn't figure I have to track down error codes like this, but hey, here we are. Okay, error code 8. Not enough memory. What? What? Um... Okay. What? Okay. Our input base is 14 bytes, right? Oh, I have it without the null character. I need to change some of that code then, but the full length is 41 bytes. I account for the null characters, so it's 42 bytes. That's what I'm allocating on the heap right now. Right? Yeah. So I'm getting the full path again. Right? And I want to put this into this buffer. Which, ta-da, there we are. Okay, so I'm pointing the length here. It should be 41, but whatever. Now I'm trying to get the file attributes of this one. Right? It doesn't work. It's invalid file attributes. So I'm going to print Windows error, get the last error code, which is 2, which is file does not exist. And I'm telling this little thing here, allocate me a buffer for this error message on my system. And it says no can do because there's not enough memory. What? Okay. So I know it uses local alloc. This buffer cannot be larger than 64 kilobytes in size. So the only reason why that would fail is because local alloc fails. So let's have a look at local alloc, right? Oh, thanks for the follow. I am so confused about what is happening right now. Like, what do you mean you have no space to allocate an error message? Okay. I'm wondering. So here, instead of saying allocate buffer, right? What if I do not pass a message buffer and just wanted to give me the length of the message that should be returned? And then I just allocated myself on the heap because, like, I think there is something funky going on here. No, it doesn't do that. Why does it not do that? Yeah. I probably don't promote my streaming enough, to be honest. But I've been on a streaming hiatus for a while, so I only started 2 days ago to stream again a little bit. Actually didn't want to do programming streams anymore, but here we are. But thank you for watching the YouTube videos. Getting ready to bring the dog on a second walk? Well, nice. I already took mine out for a longer walk today, so she's just laying down behind me at the moment. But I probably... Hey, yeah. I probably have to stop soon anyways, because as I mentioned on the beginning of the stream, I'm awaiting a grocery delivery and it should be here fairly soon, so might have to stop quite abrupt, but I'm trying to get this done. Okay, no, she's barking. Just means I have to let her out of the room. Give me a second. Yes, yes, yes. All right. Sorry about that. Where was I? Yeah, so this weird error. So it still returns null. It still returns 0 at the moment. So can I not get the size of the formatted message? Wait, if this... Okay. This specifies the minimum amount to allocate. I'm going to try this then. Put this back. Whoop. Oh my lordy. Did I not copy it? There we go. That's what I wanted. Okay, allocate buffer and then say message buffer. And the minimum size. So if format message allocate buffer is set, this parameter specifies the minimum number of chars to allocate on an output buffer. Okay. I doubt this will do anything, but... Nope. Okay, what about... Let's just quickly have a message buffer like this. Whoops. And remove the allocate buffer. See what happens. So clearly, I do have enough space for this message. Let's just see if anyone else had this issue before, because this is weird. No. And then we just... Okay, what about... Yeah, I really don't like what they did with the link changes and everything. There's so much old content, old blog posts and things like that, and then you click the link in the blog post that refers to some documentation and it's now gone. It can no longer resolve that link, and it's like, why? Okay, what about this? Stack Overflow, format message returning error code 8. I do not like Stack Overflow, but let's see what they have to say. Hey, what's up? Wait. No, it is a kernel thing. Okay. Local alloc is also a kernel thing, so it's... What are we doing? We are trying to figure out why format message A, or format message, is currently failing when trying to allocate a buffer for the error message. Specifically, it fails with not enough memory, but, you know, I mean, there's still a bit available. So... Wait. Was I just... Was I just being dumb? I mean, that is very likely. Okay, what is LPTSTR? Fine, whatever. LPTSTR is, of course, yes. No, don't know what that is. Okay, what's this then? So this is a pointer to a wchart or a chart in my instance. Sure, let's try that. Okay. So the error message was just wrong, and I just passed in the wrong thing. So I assume what happens is because I did not pass the address of the pointer, but rather the pointer itself, it tried to then assign whatever it has allocated, but because that wouldn't work, it probably just returned error code 8, which means cannot allocate. But it could allocate, it just couldn't assign it. Probably. It's just a guess. Oh well. That was about some wasted time. Okay, now it says system cannot... Yeah. So if I actually pass in a file, it says input is not a valid directory, which is my error message, right? I still don't understand why there's so much space here. That must be some stb printf formatting thing going on here. But then if I do this, it's like system cannot find the file specified, but I do not want to have a file, right? I just want a folder. So I'm wondering if I should change that a little bit. Instead of just printing out the Windows error altogether, just simply say, hey, this is not what we're looking for. We need a valid directory. Well, I can change that later. Let's just get the output path working as well. Yeah, let's just do the output path. So probably have something similar here, but for the output. And then I probably want a verify output path. And if the flag is not set, then we do not have a specified an output file, right? So actually what I want nah, you know, so I would have to get the current process directory, which is fine. But then I need to attach the output.csv at the end to it. Because this is what my old program has been doing. So the version with the C runtime, where was it? Yeah, so here. So if I specified an output path, I simply try to first to create the file. And if this didn't work, I just assumed there was just an output path, so I'm attaching the output.csv into it and then trying to create the file again. And now I can make this a little bit nicer, I suppose. Although I should probably allocate enough to like immediately get the output into it. And the output directory is... Come on, I had an output like that before. Actually, let me just... Okay, I'll just do the whole thing for the verify output part first, and then I'm gonna worry about the other thing. So verify output path. So this is no longer input. This is gonna be output. Same thing. Trying to get the full path length. Allocating enough for that, but so this accounts for the 0 character, right? But we should also... No, I don't know whether this is right. Okay, no. Allocating that. I'm already in my head trying to reduce allocations and things like that, so... okay. So this is the full path name. Then we're trying to get the file attributes. But in this case, the file does not exist, right? So this is actually a valid thing that happens. So if this happens, what I need to do is attach the output CSV to it. And then just simply try and create that file. And if that fails, then probably something else is wrong, like the whole directory is probably wrong. No, hang on. What am I on about? So if I specify an output file that doesn't exist, then these file attributes will fail. In which case, I don't mind, because that could still be a valid thing, right? Because, yeah, the file doesn't exist, and I'm creating it anyways later on. So I'm probably just going to do return true here and not worry about it, right? However, if I then get the file attributes and it happens to be a directory, then I have to do something, because that means the user has specified an output directory, but not an output file name. So I'm just going to attach the output.csv, which is the default file that gets created, right? So I should attach that here. And in any case, I'm just going to try and create that file and overwrite it or whatever. And if there's something else wrong, then the call to create file will fail. And then I can just print out that error message from that function call, which will hopefully give enough information to the user of what went wrong. So I'm not trying to do something fancy here whatsoever. Probably do not need the last component. Oh, and that's another thing. So hang on. If I do so okay, so it can either have a backslash at the end or not. Okay, so I have to watch out for that as well. In which case, what is last component then? Nope. Where's the debugger? There we go. So let's say I do specify a slash. Then last component. Oh, did I not change it? I thought I changed it. Nope. Is null. Okay, and if I leave out the backslash, it should then be source. Yes, it is. Okay, in this instance, I didn't even need last component for the input path. So let me remove that. But for the output path, it is actually useful. Okay. So it is a directory. If last component is not null, then there is no backslash. But if it is null, there is a backslash. So I do not need to account for that when I attach the file name onto this. Is there such a thing as heap realloc? I don't know. There is. If heap realloc fails, the original memory is not freed, yada yada, okay, but I do not care about that at all, because this only is a very short-lived application, and memory is freed when the process dies anyways. Okay, so what I probably need is... Oh yeah, I wanted to fix that. Hang on. Let's do that. And then this is actually the right length right here without the null terminating character. Okay, that is fine. And then I probably want the same thing here. Okay. Now I want a new size, so u64 new size equals output length. Right. And then how much is that? 10 characters. Okay. And here we need 11 characters. And the null termination character. Okay, so, and then heap realloc. So the handle, we want the process heap. Flags 0. Then we want the pointer to the original one, so that would be option base. Oh, actually, in this instance, just full base, right? And the new size, there we go. And this would be new buffer. If new buffer is null, then just gonna return false. So, and then, oh, but then the last component thingy is not, no, that's fine. I just need to validate that down here anyways. And then I can do a mem copy into new buffer plus output length from file name I forgot the parameters. Okay, it takes a count. Fantastic. And the count would be... Ah, that's annoying. I think that might be right. Famous last words. Okay, and then what I need to do here is say you're now pointing to the new buffer, and full length is now new size, and I want it without the null terminating character. Yeah, this would be nice now if I had the path join, which I wanted to do initially, right? I don't think I have enough time for that because my grocery delivery should be here soon. So I'm probably going to do that later in the day when I resume the stream. Because that's something that I need to do very often, right? If I have two paths, I need to combine them sometimes because I want to attach like file name at the end or whatever. And now I actually need that on two separate occasions. I could probably also make this a lot nicer to not have like a realloc down here and already account for that. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe I just should over allocate. a little bit. I guess actually not a bad idea, to be honest. You know what? I'm gonna do exactly that. I'm just gonna over allocate a little bit to account for the file name. Okay, full length down here, and I need to account for the 0 termination character right here, but I want to leave it out there, right? And then once I'm down here, I do not need to do a reallocation. I can actually just say copy this into full base plus output punct dot length. Yeah. Yep. No. Wait. Okay. Ah! Right, I don't need that anymore. Oh, why am I still using new buffer here? Oh my lord. It's just gonna be full base. A? Oh, right, because it's still running. Okay. So now if I call GP header extractor and say output is, let's go one folder there. Well, that did not work, did it? Okay, what am I doing wrong? What? Right. I forgot to set this stuff. Hey, okay, output path. There we go. So output is now ... backslash. Cool. So getting the full length, which is 39. Fantastic. We are allocating just slightly over to account for the potential default file name. And I mean, even if we don't need it, it's just 12 more bytes. Who gives a hoot about that? Right. So we're copying the full output path in there. Right. So full base is now that. Base will now point into full base, and the length is 39. Okay. Now we're getting the file attributes. And the file attributes exist. And oh, yeah, I'm dumb. Doi. Okay. So again. Right. Okay. So now we have a directory. Last component is null, which means we have a backslash, which means the count is 11, yeah, and the output file name is this one. Okay. So full base is this one. Okay, so full base. I think the length was 39, right? Yeah, so that is the... Okay, so full length 40. Right. Okay, full base, full length, plus 11. That is the null terminating character right now. Okay. I pressed F5, didn't I? Oh dear. There's something I'm not seeing right now. There you go. Wait, but... Huh? So strlen tells me it's 38 bytes long, right? But full length has been set to 39. So full base 38 is the null terminating character. But I thought get full path name doesn't return. Where is it? Oh, which tab are you in? It's just... No! Okay. Why can't I copy out of the... Oh, my lord. Okay. Was I working on false assumptions or something? The return value is the length in tchars of the string copied, not including the terminating null character. Right. And here the argument length also doesn't include the null terminating character. So, okay, now I'm thoroughly confused. Okay, so length is 3. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, fine. Doesn't include the null terminating character. That is absolutely correct. Full length now returns 39. Oh! Yeah, cool. So actually, if I pass in a 0 buffer and null, the length does include the null terminating character. So I was entirely working on false assumptions. I should have just read the next line of the documentation, but no. It's like, yeah, I found what I was looking for. Let's ignore the rest. Ah! Why do I keep doing that? Okay, so full length. Right, that also means I have to change all the other things here. So get current directory. Okay, I also need to check that one. Win32, bap. Including the null terminating character. Okay. So the same thing here. This actually doesn't need a +1. This does also not need a +1. And actually what I should do in the end is say result length minus minus. Okay. So here includes the null terminating character, so I do not need to do the +1. Cool. Same here. Do not need to do that. Right? Here, I want to say -1. Cool. Do I use full length down here somewhere? Nope, I do not. Fantastic. Okay. Here, full length. Includes the null terminating character, so we just need to add 11 onto this. Okay, do not need to use the +1 here. Full length is -1. Get the frickin' attributes. If it is one of these, we do this, this, and this. So full base, no, sorry, full length includes the null terminating character, right? So no, this is correct now because I'm using the output length, right? Here, you know what? I'm just gonna do that and make this a bit nicer. Why not? It's just 10 characters. Who cares? Don't need to count. Or do I need to count? I probably do need the count. Whatever. Okay, fine. Haven't exactly made things nicer now, but whatever. Okay, doing that. So I want actually output length plus the number of characters I want to add. Right. And our output length is output length plus count. Okay. Conversion from size t to int. Line 90. Fine. Okay. Actually, let's go here. No, let's go here. Right. I'm a genius. Okay. Now it's correct. Okay, cool. Cool. Wait, I cannot open that. No. Okay, then let's do... No. Output base. What if I say array? Oh, array of okay, and 48 is the null character. Yep. All right. Well, that took way longer than it needed to. Okay, so at least this works now. If the output path is if the output flag is set, then depending on whether it is actually a directory that's known, I'm just going to attach the output.csv onto it. And now I kind of need to do the same thing here, because I'm just getting the current process directory, which I know is, you know, just a directory, not a file. So I need to attach the file onto this as well. So I'm just going to do that like so. Let's just call it get default output, where we're getting the current directory, get the length, right? And then we do the exact same thing. I'm just gonna, hang on. Yeah, just 11. Okay. Right, then I get the current directory, do that. Let's remove this one. And then I just copy paste whatever I did down here and slightly adjust it. So the file name is actually always going to be this chunk right here. I mean, I know it's going to be 11, right? So and we want to get this to result base plus result length. Add the file name with 11 and then result base, result length plus 11 and then result length. And let's just add 10 because we do not want the null terminating character in there. Okay, so now what? Oh, right. Nope. Okay, why not? Excuse me, what? Right, because I'm still setting the output in the debugger. Oh my lord. Okay, my brain is starting to get mush. I'm making way too many mistakes. What now? Right? Oh, you're still set. Oh my. Okay. Are you good now? There we go. Fucking hell. Okay. Hang on. Yeah, I see what I did. Right, and then no, hang on. This needs to be. 11 because this includes the null terminating character. So it's still the null terminating character. We're going to the base plus this -1 because of the null terminating character. Now the new length is this, which includes the null terminating character, and I need to go there, so +10, right. So result length still includes the null terminating character, which means I just need to do that. Okay. So run. Yeah, cool. I kind of want to see this in the debugger though. So let me quickly verify that. Nope. Okay. So we have result base, result length, and result base with result length should point to the null termination character. Cool. Okay, so kind of have this stuff replicated now as I had before in my old program with the C Runtime. So this one right here, where I set the default inputs and outputs if necessary. And now I can just... I think now there's nothing special anymore, to be honest. The only thing that I might have to kind of adjust are like these fput WS and stuff like that, because I'm compiling without the C Runtime. I do not have these available. So, okay. Let's just copy this. So I have this UI flag, GUI flag, with the nice to do, implement UI mode, which I do not have at the moment. So what I'm just gonna say here is write error, because this is an error and it's no longer a white character thing. So I'm just gonna do that, and I do not need to specify stdr because my write error macro is already printing out onto the standard error. Okay, so, and here this will be exit process. Okay. Then I am creating the output file. Well, there are some rules. So let's follow those a little bit. Right. There's an options flag no file, which I completely forgot about. So I should probably move this output stuff down here into the else. I will do that shortly. So this flag you would specify if you do not want to create a CSV file, you just want to put all the output onto the console. Right. So I'm checking the options flags for the stdout flag. No, rather I'm setting the stdout flag. So the output will be going onto the console output. Then I have options flag append, where I'm printing out a warning. Right, because options flag append makes no sense if you have no file. Kind of makes sense. So I need like some warning for this, but it's non-terminating, so I'm just gonna do a to-do here. Print warning of some sorts, right? Actually, no. Why am I even bothering with to-dos? Let's just write error, right? And then write this out. Okay, then we have the else block, which means we actually want an output file, in which case this output processing should happen in here, right? Okay. And then I should probably open the file right here. So I'm going to call create file, and that will give me a handle. I probably should put this out here. Handle output file. Create file. I forgot the whole parameters I need for this. So Win32 create file. Create file A. Right, the handle will be output file. The file name is gonna be options output. Now the desired access is gonna be generic write. The share mode. You know what? I'm going to specify that as 0 for now. So we have an exclusive lock on that file. Security attributes, do not care. Right. Creates a new file always. If the specified file exists and is writable, the function truncates the file. Okay. So, well, okay. These flags depend on this option flag right here, right? So I have this append flag. So what is this? Is this a D word? Yeah. So D word, which actually is just U16, right? No, I think it's an S16. Let's keep it Windowsy, why not? Flags, so if we have file append, then I need to do something else, right? So Okay, so creates file always. Is what I want in this case, right? But if I want to append, I guess open always then. But now I'm wondering if Windows then jumps to the last location. Or if I need to do this myself later on. Oh. So generic write is probably not the right thing. There seems to be a file append data and a generic read. Now, why would I need a generic read? Because I need to set the file pointer to the file end. Okay, right. Okay, okay. So, it doesn't even show you that it needs that here. Like, the two most commonly used values. Yeah, but what about other values? Like, why don't you... Oh, you put that down here. Okay, so I probably need to do it like this. So we have dword access flags, right? And then we also have dword disposition. Yeah, it's probably better if I just have multiple calls for this. Okay, so generic white now create always, and flags and attributes right here can be null. Template file, do not have one. That can be null as well. Okay. So this is what I should be doing if I just want to create a new file. And then now we have that with append. So append, just gonna do whatever they're doing down here. Append data with generic read. I still do not want file sharing. We have open always instead of create always. And file attribute normal. I thought I don't need to specify file attributes. I mean, I guess I'll set it then. Okay. Right, and if output file is invalid file handle or something, invalid handle value, then I can say print Windows error and exit process error code 1, whatever. I probably should have different error codes as well, but I'm not going to bother for that right now. Okay. Okay, what is handle? Handle is a void pointer. So I can have this point to null. And what is invalid handle value? It's just long pointer -1. So all Fs. Sure. Okay. Okay, then I just seem to be writing stuff into the output file. Okay. So let's just do the same thing. If option flag is unset, okay, fine. Headless, I see. Okay, so I have an headless mode as well. But this is essentially the table header that I want to write out into the CSV file. If std out is set, I also want to print that out onto the terminal, right, onto the console. So I'm gonna do that. Right. So for that, instead of an write error, I need just write line or something. No, just write output. We have the message pointer, and it's essentially the same call as write error, but we're going to std. Oh God, what was it called again? Whoops. Oh, just output handle, really? Okay. Okay, do the exact same thing, and then I can probably have the same thing for one which requires a length. Don't know if I ever need that or if it's useful, but we'll see. Okay. So yeah, right output table header. And then if output file is not null, then we should write into the file. Now, how do I do that? First time I'm doing that on Windows. Write file, I suppose. Well, you look at that, write file. Okay. Right. So this has a file handle, which is output file. The buffer we want to write is going to be table header. The number of bytes to write is going to be strlen table header. Now, the number of bytes written. Okay. So, dword written. Right. And dword length. So we're writing length to the output file and getting written back, and overlapped we do not care. If this fails, I can just call get last error. Okay, so that would be print Windows error, exit process, right, and a return. And if I want to be really pedantic, I should probably check if written is the same as length, and if it is not, then something fishy has been going on, and should probably write an error here saying something fishy. Right, I don't know. Fail to write to the And since I'm probably going to do that a bunch of times, probably better to have this as a function. Write file. String, yeah. Let's have a bool. Return false. Return false. And return true. Okay. And then I have this function right here, which is basically read ROM headers. So this iterates through all the files and then writes all the headers into the output. But I'm not going to deal with that function today. So this is for another time. All I'm going to do call here is exit process. Okay, and then let's see if I built this. Okay, screwed up enough. 127. Yeah, it's D word. Table header. Right, it's message. Doi. Output file, undeclared identifier in 129. That is correct. It's actually handle. Initializing from size T to D word in 128. That is indeed correct. This should be U64. 190. Oh, right. This is output.base. Right. Oh, Lord. I'm really regretting choosing unsigned character for the base. I should probably change that at some point. Right. So this is still running. So shoot. Build, run. I don't see anything, which is a good thing. So now if I look at dir, there should be an output CSV file, and indeed it is. So if I try and open this one, and there we go, we see the header. Okay, don't know why NVIDIA thought to pop up right now, but there we go. So file name, title, code, maker, da 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 da. So these are all the Game Boy headers, and successfully written that into the CSV output file. Huzzah! Okay, one thing that I want to do probably... I probably don't need to do this, but just in case. So I'm opening the output file here. And if something goes wrong here, what I probably should do is... close handle. Right. I just closed my terminal. Fantastic. GB header extractor, build run. Yeah. Okay, and if I run this with UI, yep, it fails. And if I say std out, it prints this thing out into the file name as well. But if I say std out and headless, no dice. Now, if I say append, right, then it should probably have... Oh, come on. Output CSV. Okay. Ah, that is correct. I have not set the... Ah, shoot. The pointer as I wanted to. Okay. I need to set the file position, right? Set file pointer. Let's look at that. Win32, set file pointer. Okay, what do you need? You need... So we're appending... Well, this is annoying. Okay, I want the file handles, so this is gonna be output file, distance to move. Wait, so... Really? So... Does this jump to the end of the file? Ah. Okay, now it works. So this is apparently how you jump to the end of the file. The starting point for the file to move, which is the end of the file, and we're setting it to 0, which means it doesn't jump at all with 0, but at the end of the file. So if it's at the beginning of the file, it jumps to the end of the file then, I guess. Okay, and if this should return invalid set file pointer, I can say print a Windows error. Close handle output file, exit process with error code 1. I do not know if I actually need to close the file handle. I assume Windows would take care of that as well. So let's just append a few times. Okay. Yeah, there we go. So this is definitely working. Fantastic. Okay, I'm sort of happy with this. So the only thing I need to worry about now is this write header to file function, where I'm actually reading the Game Boy header and writing stuff out, and then I have read ROM headers right here, which is already sort of Windows code. Just need to change the printfs and stuff. There's a few paths combined down here, so I need to play around with that a little bit. But other than that, I think I'm good for now. Yeah. And my food delivery should have been here ages ago, so I'm not sure what happened. But I'm definitely going to stop for now anyway. So thanks for watching. I'll be uploading this into the Word channel, and see ya. Bye.